For my project today, I am presenting on a security breach that has completely redefined how we think about digital trust in the workplace, the Singapore Zoom Deepfake Heist. In the world of cybersecurity, we are seeing a dangerous shift toward a model known as Deepfake as Service, or DAAS. This isn't just a single hacker working in a basement. This is a professionalized high-tech business model where specialized criminal groups rent out their AI tools and their massive computer processing power to other scammers. These tools allow criminals to impersonate high-level executives in real time with almost perfect accuracy. I chose this specific case because it targets the most basic human instinct we have in business, the instinct to trust what we see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears. For years, we have been told that video calls are the safest way to verify someone's identity. When you can't be in the same room, we operate under the assumption that if we are looking at a person on a screen, it is a guarantee of their identity. However, as I prepare to graduate and head into the workforce, I believe it is critical for all of us to understand that this guarantee no longer exists. This presentation will walk you through the 4-day operation that cost a company nearly $500,000, the technical and management failures that led to the theft, and what this means for the future of professional communication. This heist was not a quick one-time mistake. It was a highly coordinated, multi-stage operation that took place over the course of 4 days from March 24th to March 28th, 2025. The attack actually began quite simply with a mobile message. A finance director received a text on WhatsApp from someone he believed was his CFO. The message detailed a highly confidential and top secret corporate restructuring project. This is a very calculated move by the scammers. By labeling the project as secret, they created a wall of silence around the victim. This ensured that the director wouldn't feel comfortable discussing the project with his peers, his assistant, or even the actual CFO if he saw him in the hallway. When the formal Zoom meeting finally took place, the director was joined by what appeared to be his entire executive leadership team, the CEO, the CFO, and several board members. These were not just static images or pre recorded loops. These were live digital clones that mimicked the facial expressions, breathing, and specific speech patterns of his bosses in real time. To, to add an extra layer of professional legitimacy, the scammers even included a person posing as a lawyer to handle the supposed legal documents. Over the next 4 days, this group used the psychological weight of their titles to pressure the director into signing non disclosure agreements and eventually authorizing a wire transfer of $500,000 to a bank account in Hong Kong. He believed he was being a dedicated, trusted employee on a special mission, but in reality, he was the only authentic human being in a digital room full of ghosts. When we look at why this worked from a technical standpoint, we have to recognize that the scammers used what we call a novel attack vector. Most corporate security training focuses on phishing emails, suspicious links, or bad attachments. Almost no one is trained to look for synthetic people during a live, interactive conversation. The scammers utilize an AI injector to feed a synthetic video stream directly into the Zoom platform. This essentially tricked the software into thinking the AI generated face was the output of a physical webcam. At that time, video conferencing tools like Zoom were not built with the defense mechanisms needed to detect this kind of high level AI deception. There were no automated tools to flag a video feed as being computer generated rather than a real camera feed. Furthermore, the quality of the AI was so high that there were no obvious technical red flags, no audio lag, no voice distortion, and no blurred edges. The AI was even capable of mimicking the specific lighting and office backgrounds of each executive. This level of technical detail made the trick nearly impossible to detect with the naked eye, even for someone who worked with these executives every day. From a management perspective, the primary failure was the total lack of out of band verification. In business security, out of band means you must verify a high risk request through a second communication path that is completely independent of the first one. For any organization, a strict protocol should happen in place. No large financial transaction can be authorized based solely on a video call. There should have been a requirement to pick up a regular telephone and call a verified office number to confirm the request with a real person. The scammers also successfully executed a psychological hack. By populating the meeting with the CEO and a lawyer, they created an environment of extreme authority and urgency. They understood that most employees are socialized not to challenge or question their highest level bosses, especially on top secret matters. They used this social pressure to override the director's natural skepticism. This case is a perfect example of how even the most sophisticated technology depends on human behavior and why our security is only as strong as our willingness to follow strict verification rules even when we think we know who we are talking to. The impact on the company was devastating and went much deeper than just the missing funds. While the 500,000 was eventually recovered, the money was frozen for several months as part of an international investigation involving the Hong Kong police and the Monetary Authority of Singapore. For many businesses, having $500,000 of liquidity stuck in a legal freeze can lead to serious operational problems, such as inability to pay vendors or meet payroll on time. Beyond the financial hit, the company suffered a massive loss of productivity. They had to stop normal operations to facilitate internal audits, law enforcement interviews, and legal inquiries. However, the most lasting damage is the total collapse of internal trust. When employees feel like they can no longer trust that the person on their screen is their actual manager, it creates a culture of paranoia and hesitation that can take years to fix. Finally, the company now faces intense scrutiny from global regulators, which can lead to permanent damage to their reputation and potential legal fines for having such weak internal controls. Looking forward, the way we prove our identities in the digital world is going to have to change entirely. We are moving toward what is known as a zero trust model. This means we are shifting away from trusting our eyes and ears and moving toward technical cryptographic proof. In the near future, video calls will likely require digital signatures or embedded watermarks that prove a feed has not been altered or generated by AI. We will also see an increase in global cooperation among law enforcement. Because scammers can move money across the world in seconds, police forces are now relying on networks like Frontier to share data and freeze suspicious bank accounts faster than ever before. Essentially, we are entering an era of AI fighting AI. Companies will begin using background security tools that scan every video call for synthetic patterns, lighting, inconsistencies, or audio glitches that the human brain simply cannot detect. In this new world, seeing a face is no longer enough. Every identity must be technically verified before it is believed. To wrap up, this heist serves as a stark reminder that our technology is advancing much faster than our rules for using it. Real time deepfakes have turned common business tools like Zoom into major security vulnerabilities. It highlights a future where seeing is no longer believing and where the human element remains the single most exploited weakness in the security chain. As I finish my degree and enter the workforce, I realize that our responsibility as future professionals is to be the first line of defense. We cannot simply rely on software to keep us safe. We have to build and follow systems that rely on logic, secondary checks, and strict protocols. If we don't update our business rules to keep up with these high tech scams, the risk of even larger losses in the future is a certainty. Thank you for your time.